Biggie just told us something very interesting. He's watching this Netflix show on the Menendez Brothers.
It's getting some heat and some traction, and I think Biggie asked a question that I kind of assumed I knew the answer to, but he asked if your wife, Kelly, was watching it as a fan of true crime.
She loves that story, too, the Menendez Brothers story. I don't think she's watching it yet. I believe it is on her list. This is the same group that did the O.J. Simpson series that was fictional, where it was...
It's the same creator. His name's Ryan Murphy.
But they're actors playing all the parts.
Yes.
Right.
The big thing, it's like a series called Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Dahmer was the big one last year.
Yep, I remember that.
They did Jeffrey Dahmer. That was everywhere. So this year is the Menendez Brothers.
So Biggie says that one of the Menendez brothers, Lyle, went bald, lost his hair at a fairly young age, like in his early 20s.
Yes.
And that he really, if you don't know.
Some are sensitive, was sensitive about it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. By the way, if you don't know the Menendez story, they were very wealthy, and the two brothers wound up murdering their parents. And at first it was like, did the mob do it? Who did it? And eventually it came out they did it. It was a sensationalized trial. Then they claimed that they were abusive parents and got very big in the...
That was wall-to-wall TV coverage, too, of the trial.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So apparently, now I didn't know this part of it, and Biggie has a spoiler alert here. Lyle had lost his hair fairly early, but nobody knew because he was so sensitive to it. And he had one of the toupees that attaches to your scalp, like sewn in.
Well, I think they used to come with glue. I mean, you would glue it to your scalp.
Okay.
And like hooks.
Oh.
Yeah. And the reason, and the dad made him do this too. The dad was very controlling. They do show that.
Mm-hmm.
The dad was very much a hothead.
Okay.
And I guess he just didn't want his son, so his dad pushed this.
Yeah. A glue-on, stick-on toupee.
And apparently, no one knew it was so good. Mm-hmm. Everyone talked about how great it was.
Was he wearing it during the trial?
Yes.
I guess
he was. Because I remember them.
And he would get it, and he insisted on it being, the people that made it for him have now come forward. He insisted on being real human hair, and he would change it by season. He'd go in and say, I need some blonde streaks in it now that it's summer.
Yeah.
And no one knew. They said it was unbelievable how good it was.
I bet that was pricey. At that time,
yeah.
Very expensive. Here's the part that'll really shock you. Apparently, they had a huge fight one night, and the mother...
Family dinner table?
The family dinner table. And even his brother, Eric Menendez, didn't know that he had the toupee on. But Mom did, and she took it and ripped it off his head.
I mean, snatched it. And a lot of people really believe that's the moment he said, I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill them.
What was the murder weapon, Biggie, in that case?
Shooting one.
Shotgun.
Yeah. When they were asleep.
In fact, no, they showed it as watching TV.
Ooh, was it?
And, that's right, they were in the living room.
Yeah, and the big thing was them trying to buy the shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
And
the brothers?
Yeah, they ended up, because everyone needed ID, and at the time, Lyle didn't have a valid driver's license. So they showed them basically going up and down the coast trying to buy shotguns with a fake ID.
Wow.
And they shot them while they were watching TV, and then they ran off to, which this is classic, they tried to buy a movie ticket for a movie that had already started. They got there for they wouldn't just buy it for $9.45. Well, they got there at like $10.45
to show that they were already in the theater.
They were trying to get their alibi, and the girl's like, "I can't sell it to you." And he's cussing her, and she's like, "Please don't cuss at me."
Oh, God.
What year was the murder?
Late 80s, right?
89.
What was the movie?
Oh,
Batman.
It was Batman.
Was it really?
Yeah. Batman.
Great.
Yeah. And because I'll tell you, I went so far to see how much they got right that it was the old school theater box where they showed the movies at the top.
Yeah.
And Batman was listed like with Karate Kid part whatever.
Yeah.
So they got everything right.
Beautiful. That is really... Okay, that might be something I want to watch. You've seen... It's just one episode so far.
That's all I've watched. I just watched it yesterday. The whole thing is dropped, so I'm definitely gonna watch it now.
Let me give you the relationship with my son. I'll tell you something my son has... I got an email from a P1 who said, I thought about your son. You know how I'm always saying...
Year 2 at college.
Year 2 at college. You know how I'm always a stickler for... Thanksgiving is late this year, which it is. This stemmed from a couple of years ago.
A disastrous meeting.
Disastrous meeting.
In the workplace.
In the workplace, where someone said, isn't Thanksgiving late this year? And someone else confirmed, yes, it's very late this year. Well, I knew for a fact it was November 24th, which is not only not late, but right in the middle.
But you couldn't just let it slide.
No, I didn't let it go. I said... Actually, Thanksgiving is not late this year. It's November 24th.
It's a sliding holiday.
It's a sliding holiday, and it's November 24th this year. It can be anywhere from the 22nd through 28th, so the 24th is actually on the early side, isn't it?
You see.
Yes. That's right.
It's a good thing nobody snatched your tube off.
That's right. That's right. That could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Snatch me bald up there.
I'm going to kill him.
I don't know when. I don't know how. But I'm gonna.
That was the moment they said, I'm going to kill him. It's going to be done. Well, a P1 emailed and said, I know what a stickler you are for Thanksgiving and other dates, and that is the case. He says, I have a son exactly your son's age. He's a sophomore in college. He recently asked me, wonder when Halloween will fall on a Friday the 13th for the first time. Because we just had a Friday the 13th.
Right.
And he said, I wonder if Halloween will ever fall on a Friday the 13th. That's how in the world they are.
Uh-huh.
You know? My son was home recently. He's a sophomore from college. He's
Just a weekend trip?
A weekend trip. Well, he had an orthodontist appointment on a Monday. And so he was in for the weekend. We are now about 5 weeks away from him getting his braces off. The long nightmare. Yes.
He won't be graduating with the braces.
He will not be graduating. He graduated high school with, he got the braces when he was 13. He's now 19, and he'll be getting the braces. This was a 2-year project that has turned into a 6-year project.
My work here is done.
Remember, the orthodontist is retiring, and these will be the last teeth he takes braces off of.
I believe for the first time ever, he said to you, I fleeced you for enough
money.
Oh,
my God. I think he finally started to feel bad about how much money he was taking from us because my son, first he had those Invisaligns, which you had to take in and out, which, of course, my son never put in. And though they were very expensive, then we went to the braces so he couldn't take them out, but he kept breaking them and this and that, eating the things he wasn't supposed to eat. And finally, after 6 long years, the braces will be coming out. But while he was home long enough to leave behind clothing that he needed. And so, that's right. He always leaves something behind that he needs. So
was it like part of the laundry?
Yes. And he left behind some laundry that he did the laundry while he was home. And
he did his own?
He did.
Okay.
And he left behind a few items. So he called my wife yesterday and said, I'm not going to be home for a while. I really need those clothes. And my wife said, well, what do you suggest we do? I mean, I'm not going to drive you. It's a 3-hour drive. I'm not going to take And he says, can you mail them? And she goes, I'm not going to spend the money to mail your clothes to you. And my son said, wait. It costs something. It costs money
to ship
something through the mail. And my wife said, of course it costs money. He goes, what, like 60 cents? Big whoop. And my wife said, no, for clothing, it's going to cost many dollars.
The bigger the package.
Bigger the package, yeah.
And he goes, so the stuff I pick up, like from the mailbox, it costs money. I said, yeah, it costs money. She said, apparently, since we get free shipping on Amazon.
I think boxes just show up at your house.
Exactly. He assumes.
That's all he knows.
He assumes that it doesn't cost anything to send a letter or a package through the mail, So they got into a heated exchange over.
Was there any resolution?
He is going to pay for
He'll pay for the shipping.
He'll pay for the shipping, yes. She'll pay for it. He'll Venmo her the money back for paying for the shipping because he desperately needs the items. Apparently, he's got some pants that he really wants to wear out. And so those are being sent back to him. Anyhow, it was staggering to me that he didn't know. So we asked my daughter, who's 16, what does it cost to mail a letter? She said, I thought that was free. I mean, so
did she really?
Yes. They think to put something in the mailbox, they think it's free. Exactly. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's just how it is now, I guess.
I guess they're just, and you get less and less mail now, too. So,
of course.
Yeah.
The things we get, as Chris Demm said, are boxes that show up that we've ordered online.
Yeah.
And we do get free shipping with Amazon most of the time. I guess all of the time because we're Amazon Plus.
Do you ship anything?
Very rare.
Do you ever go to the post office?
Very rare. Yeah. I sent a birthday card to my niece recently. I just drove through and dropped it in the mailbox, but I don't think they ever have. I mean, they're young, They don't mail. They don't mail. They don't. Remember the days when
I'm still old enough to send cards.
Oh yeah, I send cards. We used to, when I was a kid, I used to love running to the mailbox.
Yeah.
It was so exciting, to see.
You never knew what was going to be inside.
It was like an adventure every day. You're like, oh my gosh, what treasures lie inside this box.
I used to get so. I mean, when I was a kid, you got something in the mail.
Of course.
It was a treat.
Not anymore.
To see your name on the envelope?
Yeah, not anymore. This is the story. It's Planes, Trains, Automobiles. And the incident occurred in Hong Kong. The airline is called Cathay Pacific.
Big one.
Big airline in China, in Hong Kong. Well, a woman was, it was a flight from Hong Kong to London, September 17th. Female passenger from mainland China was sitting in a seat, as you would, and her seat was leaned back. They were mid-flight. The lady sitting behind her said, would you please put your seat back to its full upright position? It bothers my husband. He has long legs. The woman sitting in the seat said, no, I'm comfortable. At that point, the lady that asked for her to move the seat back to its upright position took off her shoes and slid her feet up to the armrest of the original lady.
Between the slots, the sides?
Yes. A flight attendant attempted to mediate the situation, but the woman who was from mainland China, her Cantonese wasn't very good, and apparently everybody in the situation was speaking Cantonese, and they started calling her mainland girl. That's untoward. Apparently the people in the mainland speak a different language than others.
I'm sure there are tons of dialects.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So her dialect, they called her mainland girl, which was very offensive to her, as you can imagine.
Like being called redneck?
Exactly. I think that's what it was. Yeah, I think they were like, this mainland girl keeps telling me she won't move her seat. And she said, I don't take kindly to being called mainland girl. Well, all of a sudden the two started pushing each other, the two that were in the seat exchange to begin with. And now they've both have been banned from Cathay Pacific Airlines for life. They cannot fly on this major airline ever again for life. And mainland girl says, I used to fly all the time. I'm really worried about this. This is a big problem.
That's a drag.
I think the woman who made the request was wrong because, I mean, you can make her the request, but she doesn't have to comply.
She doesn't have to. And frankly, what was it, a 20-hour flight?
A long flight. That's China to London.
That is a long flight.
Yeah.
So I don't mind if people put their seats back on a flight like that. It was probably, the cabin was dark.
I'm sure.
I'm sure people were sleeping.
They were mid-flight, but her husband, I guess, had become so bothered because he has long legs, as do I.
Would you have spoken up, or would you have said something and make your wife speak up?
I would have never spoken up myself.
So you would say nothing to mainland girl?
No, mainland girl would have been...
Would your wife have been the one to broach the subject to mainland girl?
She might have. It's possible. I don't think either one of us would. We'd have talked about her behind her back.
Right.
Yeah.
You just suffer and stew.
That's the way to do things.
That's the name of my podcast, Suffer and Stew.
Oh, that's actually a good one.
I'm going to do a new one.
Things that bug me that I say nothing about.
Suffer and stew. That's how you should go through life in my mind. Exactly. No, I wouldn't have said anything. Plus, I do think it's her right to lean it back, even though I have long legs. I mean, that's just how it is. That's just, there are some advantages to being tall. You can reach things on higher shelves. There are some disadvantages. In an airplane, you're cramped. That's just how it is. Did you see this airline, a small airplane? This happened in Wyoming near Cheyenne. Guy landed on the highway, which happened here recently. The plane, it was a single-engine plane, and was having some mechanical difficulties, and the pilot was able to land it on the roadway, on the highway. And a couple named Levi and Kelsey Dutton of Casper, Wyoming, were driving. The only ones driving at this time. This happened 3 days ago. They were 23 miles north of Cheyenne, and the woman posted about it to her social media. The guy landed his plane. They pulled up beside him and said, "Are you?
What's going on?
Yeah, are you all right?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm fine." His name, he's like, "I'm Steve." He was the pilot. They didn't even get his last name. He's like, "I can fix this." He fixed it and took off. How about that? Now that's impressive.
I like that.
I did too. And they were like, "We don't even know his name." They took video of the plane.
Steve the pilot.
Steve the pilot's all they know. And he landed on the highway. It must have been very sparsely traveled at some time of the day when nobody's out there, near 20 miles from Cheyenne. So they were like, "We had a real adventure, but we don't even know the guy's name." And he fixed his own plane and took off again. We had somebody land here, a month ago, and another car crashed into the plane.
Killed someone, at least one person, right?
Did they? Somebody? I thought nobody died.
I didn't think anyone died.
No, I thought they just
I thought somebody got hit by a passing car.
They did, but it didn't.
I thought everyone was okay.
I think the car ran into the plane, and it was a bump up, but no fatalities or anything, and maybe a hospital visit. But the pilot said I had no other choice. I had to land on those.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't the highway system designed so that military planes could
I
land?
always heard that they,
Yeah.
every so many X number of miles, it's a straightaway,
Yeah, that's
so planes can land.
That's right. That's why it is. And we would be in case of a war fought on our soil, we would be ordered to. The public could no longer use the highways because the planes could then land on the highways wherever they needed to.
It's good practice out there in Wyoming. What do they know that we don't know?
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
J6 Part 2.
Well, we're 6 weeks from Election Day.
That's right.
We are 6 weeks from Election Day today.
Fuel up your jets.
Do you know? I just saw this is one of the best. I love this. This is presidential politics. Well, it's about presidents and a factoid I just read. The Oval Office, and this is clogged. The Oval Office has pressure sensors on the floor so the Secret Service can monitor exactly where the president is, even when the Secret Service is not
Inside
allowed
the room.
Inside the room. So
Wow.
He's at the sofa. He's at the desk.
Yeah. So they know where he is. Let's say he has a high-level meeting and they're not allowed inside. They know where he is in the room based on the pressure points. Isn't that crazy?
He's napping. A lot of that the last 4 years.
He's at the candy jar. He's looking out the window again.
He's just meandering. A lot
Who's
of
he meeting
that.
with? No one. I need the room, John. I need the room, gentlemen.
But you're alone. That's right. That's right.
He's just going back and forth from the window to the couch.
Just wandering.
A lot of that.
That's probably what they're seeing over and over and over again. That's right. But they do get to see that with the sensors on the floor.
How do you add that? Because clearly they could have never conceived that
I know.
when the building was constructed.
I know. Incredible. I don't know. They must have added that recently. Yeah,
Has to be.
That's a real recent invention. I would assume. I wonder where the first president was that had that. You think
That's a good
Reagan?
question.
You think Reagan?
You might
could
be
have-
surprised. Yeah, I was thinking more something from the 80s.
You think?
You think a sensitive floor?
Well, I
At
know.
least the 90s.
I know somebody whose bathroom floor is heated. Okay, there it is. I said.
And we all do.
I said.
Maybe they did it. Maybe they did it after Clinton. Because with Clinton, you'd see like two people, and then like one would just disappear onto the desk. And
There's just one set of footprints.
he's got it on the desk again. Damn.
That's right. The desk gets real heavy.
Yeah.
Just that area
Mhm.
is super heavy over there where the desk is.
Mm.
Maybe you're right. Maybe that's when it came about.